Hi, and welcome back to the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀 podcast. My name's Chris, and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another podcast video. And it's not little old fat me on my own today. JB is with me. How are you, JB?
Yeah, return back to the two of us. Hope everybody's good. I'm all good here, mate. Been a nice, somewhat relaxing weekend for a change. We've got Easter holidays over this weekend. So yeah, it's been quite enjoyable. Nice chilled out day with the family today. Back to it now though. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to say my day's been chilled out. I think I've now made and uploaded about 16 short videos for for the coming days on YouTube. So yeah, for me it's just another working day whilst everybody's chilling, enjoying Easter. But you don't get to where we got by having holidays. I can't remember the last proper holiday I had. But yeah, look, exciting times ahead. I think we're going to have more podcasts where it's more than just me on here. Nick's studio is almost done. Just got to work on the acoustic side of things so you don't get a terrible echo like we had to experience in the previous AMA. But super excited about that side of things. So then obviously I'm going to be having another 2 studios built here in the coming months as well. So lots going on, lots of exciting things, and some upgrades in the Discord, JB, as well.
Yeah, lots going on right now. The Discord's going to take a nice turn very soon. Obviously, those that know so far that are up in the traders tier and things like that, they've seen the groundwork going into where we're targeting on it going, the development, the improvement. Now, this is obviously community led as well. So when you're there, you understand what's happened, how this has all came about. So there's only one way to improve something that's already great, and that's the community. And the community's came up trumps here. They've came up with some absolutely stellar suggestions, and yeah, I think it would have been wrong for us not to implement them. And then obviously now we're seeing them there. Very early stages, like the first couple of days stages here, so you're not seeing the vast improvement just yet. But this obviously the next few weeks when when these really take over, I think it's going to be even more of a wonderful place. I'm looking forward to putting some of my own touches in there as well.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, right? There's an awful lot going on, lots of changes and updates and improvements. And one of the big things for us is engagement with the community, seeing how we can make the service better and that side of things. And we've recently added the airdrop section into the member section for all of the members. And that's been very lucrative. If you've been participating in some of these airdrops, be it NFTs or project airdrops, which there are a few upcoming ones as well that look really tasty. There's people making a living off of it. So yeah, we've added that into the member section as well. There's just so much going on in the Discord. There's over 7,000 people there now, which is fantastic, supporting one another, navigate the space safely.
I actually took an hour out last night and I sat and watched general chat. General chat's popping. It's phenomenal. Obviously, it's just there was a group of different folk in there talking about different ways that they watch the market and the way things move. Whether you agree or not, it's entirely up to you what is you look at and what you believe when you're trading the market. But to see so many different thoughts, different takes on the way folk are looking at the market, how they perceive it, what's happened, where it's going, etc. I think it's just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I do as well. Sometimes I'm sat there and I do watch it and try to take it in, like what we've built over the last few years. Makes all the the sacrifices of not having a chilled out Easter weekend, for example, worthwhile. So yeah, exciting stuff. Wanted to kind of just highlight some of those updates. Obviously, we're going to have some changes to the podcast, which are going to make it more of an actual podcast rather than just a little old fat me sat here on my Todd talking about the news. So yeah,
Are we touching on that yet, or are we going to keep that as a surprise and just let it drop?
I think we're going to leave that for now and then just let that stuff drop over time, because I think there'll be a few iterations of implementation, if that makes sense. So it won't all happen at once. So Yeah, excited about it. It's, the plan is that it's going to be super engaging, far more engaging than just me sat in front of a camera spouting the most recent and most important crypto news, which I think's important. Don't get me wrong, but I think to have more discussion around it and more long form content is going to be a Brucey bonus for the podcast channel.
So one thing I want to put on with that as well, the reason I don't mind having taken a little step back recently is the news when it comes out is so vitally important. I don't obviously think a lot of people do realise it. Well, we obviously do because we see the viewing numbers that the podcast channel is getting right now. It's still there. It's actually more than it's ever been because the news articles that are coming out every day, they're obviously updated regularly by yourself. They are so important as to what's going on. But the development of obviously where this is going to lead to, yeah, definitely be staying tuned for what's going to come here, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I am as well. There's like some pretenders out there, and they've got what they want to say. But yeah, like we're gonna open some eyes, make people realize where this game really sits and how good it can be. And yeah, looking forward to demonstrating that. It's going to be immense. But
a whole host of things. Obviously, we've got a whole host of changes coming. So not only Discord, podcast channel, everything. Just as we said, this place it's special. It really is special. I can't be the biggest supporter of it. Obviously, I'm employed by 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 now, but obviously before I was a member, I was a follower. Just to see how far it's grown in such a short period of time, the changes that I know that are coming, I think are mega. And again, just to reiterate this, obviously a lot of it is community driven. A lot of the ideas obviously came off the back of Chris, Nick, and the team here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. Obviously we sat and had sessions, thrashing out the ways that we can make this the best place, because that's what we want. We want to make it the best, the most engaging, the place to be. And, the community is a big part of that. Without the community, there is no need for this to be here. So, yeah, everything that the community have came back with, we've took on, we've spoke about, we've hashed it out, and change is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going to go.
Yeah, I think, it's easy to rest on your laurels and just, do the same as you've always done and get the same results. And that's not what we're about here at Cheeky Crypto. It's about engagement. It's about growing and developing what we've got. We've always been honest and transparent about the fact that we kind of feel that the Discord and the Patreon membership and all that sort of stuff is really just in beta mode. It's not finished. It's not where we want it to be. But some of the changes are making it very close to what we envisioned when we initially sort of started rolling it out and building it. And I don't think we'll ever be where we want to be, if that makes sense. But we're going to strive to constantly and continuously improve and adapt and be agile. So yeah, look, super excited about some of the stuff. But more importantly, should we get into some of the really juicy and tasty news articles that have reared their head this weekend?
Yeah, obviously, just before we do jump into the news articles, just quickly talk a quick market overview. It's not been exciting. It's the Easter weekend. We knew it was going to be flat. Major places are closed, like stock exchanges, the stock markets, New York, London, the rest of it. We know these places are closed Friday, Monday. Bitcoin trading at 27,900. Mega sideways weekend. We're seeing a lot of stochastics resetting over this weekend, which, we kind of anticipate this happening. We've got some big news this week coming, most importantly being Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time, specifies UK time. The FOMC minutes, obviously, I'm pretty sure we'll be hosting that down in Discord again. Jump in and check out what's going on with the minutes. We'll have a quick chat after it, see what's kind of getting spoke about after that, because I think this one may be just a little bit more interesting than the last. The last one, that popped. The chat we had after that, that absolutely popped. But this one, with everything that's getting spoke about right now, you guys know what's going on. The dollar's in a bad place. Money's changing. Oil's changing. So this FOMC minutes will be mega interesting. So jump down into the Discord on Wednesday. And yeah, we'll have a little chat about it after the minutes.
Yeah, I really enjoy those sessions. They're really engaging, and it's great to have the community sort of asking questions, giving their thoughts and opinions, whilst we're all sort of digesting the outputs. And yeah, thoroughly worth joining in and participating down in the Discord for that. I think there's something else, because you touched on the changes around, like the dollar in particular, and oil, and these macro sort of events that have been happening recently. And it makes me want to circle back to, like, some of the comments that we see on some of the videos, and some disagreements, and people seeing the market differently, and all of that stuff is fine, right? Like, it's cool, but like, I think people need to take a step back and just have a look at the bigger picture, and not just be so focused on the crypto narrative that's being spun right now. I have kind of tried to educate people around narrative, and I quite often say about, when you hear something or you see something in written form, like, over and over again, that can influence your narrative and other people's narratives. And I feel that a lot of people, and people may disagree with this, and that's completely fine. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree or disagree. I think there's a lot of people that have got caught up in a false narrative that has been psychologically embedded in people, that is the gospel truth, and that is that this is a bull market now. And like, there's a few influencers that are going against that narrative in the crypto space, but it's very few. And I mentioned about some of these group influencer chats, and there's nothing dodgy going on in them, but what I would say is, like, narratives can be spun from those. I mean, if you imagine some smaller YouTubers that really respect some of the bigger ones that are in that group, they they might see a big YouTuber who they really respect, say a certain narrative, and then they can mirror that and send that out, because they really expect them, and they believe that they know more about the market, and they've got more connections, and that they're more of an expert, and so forth. And I can see this stuff happening. I'm not suggesting that is happening, but I can see how it happens, and I really wanted to sort of articulate that to the audience, because, like, if you're not a crypto influencer invited to one of these influencer chat rooms, then you don't see it like I see it. And I think narrative is so important. Narrative can be fantastic, but it can also be detrimental if the information is wrong, inaccurate, misleading. So it's interesting, sat here looking at some of the comments of the videos, and I think there was a clown emoji on one of the videos in the Discord just before we come live, and that was from a member. And I just don't understand where that comes from. So maybe that member would like to DM me and let me know, and give me a little bit of understanding as to where that comes from. But generally, it's fine to disagree and not see the market in a different way. But at the same time, we saw this back in June, when we were, again, not aligned to the narrative that was going around. We were sent 7 magical indicators. You've heard me say this a lot, from other influencers, videos made telling us how wrong we were. And all I said was those were going to be invalidated, and that is very much what happened, and you saw that happen. So I do question people questioning the information that we're putting out, because so far we've been right more than we've been wrong, over the length of time that we've been sort of in this bear market. So yeah, just wanted to kind of just put that out there, and it would be great if people can comment down below, help me understand if you disagree, be constructive. That side of things is completely fine. But yeah, like, I would just want to understand more.
I encourage it. You know, I
Yeah.
totally encourage it to happen, because we can obviously sit here and be like, this is our narrative. This is the way we do see the way the market's going. But let us know why you see it going perhaps a different way, or maybe the same way, but taking a total different path to get there. You know, whatever the narrative is that you do have. We're not saying it's wrong. Obviously, it may not align to what we see. Nobody's 100% right in this space. Whatever we're saying, it may be wrong. We'll put our hands up if it's wrong. We will put our hands up and we will say we got it wrong. However, we encourage the other side to say, look, this is what I see going on. This is why I think we're in a bull run. This is what I think we're going to hear. You know, it's the point of the community is to have these conversations. Let us obviously converse. Let's talk about these things.
What I would say is I challenge people that have a different view on the market to convince me that my narrative is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, with solid facts, because, you know, a lot of the stuff that I see in the comments and people, you know, outside of me also see it. There isn't really any constructive rationale as to why we are wrong, or the narrative isn't right, and, you know, a strong argument. So I encourage that. I think that would be really useful, and it'd help me understand, you know, what people are saying and why they're saying it, which
On
can
the
only
side
be
of
a
the
benefit.
comments, so I think in time, the comments that we're talking about here, they'll come to light within time, so you'll understand about these things that obviously we are kind of talking about here. We just wait for the right time for us to, you know, maybe broadcast this a little bit better, so you have an understanding as to what it is that we are kind of talking about right here. But the comments, obviously, we do see coming back on YouTube. A lot of them don't get through the security wall due to obviously certain words that are being used. But within time, these will come to light, and, you know, we'll take the rewards from that.
Yeah, I mean, we did in June. I mean, some of the comments were very fun to go back to, but yeah, look, probability will say that eventually we'll be wrong about, you know, one of these macro moves. You know, it's an inevitability. But at the moment, you know, I am seeing a lot of people very, very bullish, that have constantly been bullish all the way through since like May, June, telling us the bottom was in. Maybe, just maybe, they're going to be right once.
I've got one for you guys. The ones that feel that we're in a bull market. We are not in a bull market. Tell me why we're in a bull market. Tell me why I'm a perma-bear. Let us know in the comments down below. You know, that's one for you. Tell me why we're in a bull market, and, you know, we are just being perma-bears. I'd like to know.
Definitely. Explain away. But let's get into some of these news articles, and let's
a
start.
couple of interesting ones here.
Yeah, there is. Let's start with a positive one.
Cool.
Let's start with 𝗖𝗢𝗪. So 𝗖𝗢𝗪 is a project that I've recently been raving about. I think it's going to do really well. It's very similar from a technical standpoint as like Cosmos or Polkadot, for example. Completely different technologies, slightly different, but at the same time, you know, they're 𝗖𝗪. And Nick and myself didn't create 𝗖𝗪𝗪s, just saw one of the comments saying you made 𝗖𝗪𝗪 up. No, we didn't. So basically, yeah, look, seamless connected blockchains is kind of what the narrative is with 𝗖𝗪𝗪. It's all about cross-chain applications, and I think this is going to be a very, very interesting one, all around interoperability, very similar, like I say, to Polkadot and Cosmos in that sense. But I do think they're going to get a good share of the market share. I have kind of spoken quite highly about Polkadot, and I think that Polkadot's going to do really well in the next bull cycle. Didn't perform as I expected it to do so in the previous one. But this project's coming out at what I think is probably the right time, particularly around gaming. And we can touch on that in a moment. But do you want to cover the news aspect of things?
Yeah, well, obviously, just on the money raised. So I think it was this previous week just been, there was 251 million raised for obviously new startup crypto fundraising. I think it was up from 227 million the week before. So there's zero raised $120 million in the Series B round. I think that was the largest by far. Correct me if I'm wrong here, I think they're around about 3 billion in valuation thus far.
Yeah.
They've got some mega companies investing in them, likes of Christie's, Sequoia Capital, OpenSea Ventures. So they've got big names behind them also. You know, I'm quite bullish on them. I think it's good. Obviously, we've seen you speak about them also. Now, Blockworks, they obviously reported that 𝗕𝗓𝗪 are really eyeing up the gaming industry. Quite rightly so as well. I think the gaming industry is going to be really big going forward. To be able to, it's changing. So where the cross-chain messaging is becoming integral, excuse me, I'm still getting away from the cold here. Where cross-chain messaging is becoming integral in the distribution of digital assets players win while playing, we need to obviously start focusing how this is going to be controlled. And 𝗕𝗓𝗪, I think they're making a beeline straight for this sector. This massive gap, I feel, is still there. I don't think there's been enough targeting, gaming, how, you know, the rewards from playing. Obviously, you guys know what happens when you play a game, you get these rewards, how it's all controlled. Going forward, this needs to be on the blockchain. You know, everything needs to be traced. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how good this is going to be. The money that's been raised, the backers are behind 𝗕𝗓𝗪. Quite right to be bullish on them, I feel.
Yeah, I think the gaming, the beeline for gaming, I think is how you described it, is a good one. And I'm going to use 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 as an example, right? Because they talk about interoperability quite a bit. They talk about multi-chain. 𝗕𝗓𝗪 are going to fit right into that narrative very nicely. The reason why I use 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 is just because the founders do an amazing job of being vocal and transparent with their, I think it's weekly videos that they do on YouTube, and they're very open about like 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪's approach. And I'm not suggesting that 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 are going to do anything with 𝗕𝗓𝗪, but I would imagine the words that are spoken from 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 are very much mirrored, aligned with other gaming projects, which is why I wanted to sort of mention that. The other aspect is AI in gaming as well, and you've got 𝗖𝗢𝗠 or 𝗖𝗢𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗘. I think they're kind of one of the same thing, but they are going to be launching, I imagine, pretty soon. And again, AI, gaming, metaverse, interoperability, all that sort of stuff. I can see like a group of projects that are very aligned in their approach and where they're heading. And a lot of these gaming and metaverse projects are going to be going live in 2023, 2024. So the timing just seems impeccable. But again, I think it'll be a slow grind. It's super early for many of these projects, and you have to give them time to grow and flourish.
For me, it would be the best thing as well if these companies all come together and really crack down on gaming. We know how this may be wrong and this may be distasteful, but we know how poor, air quotes here, the Web3 gaming is right now. Sandbox, what's the other one we jumped in? Decentraland. For me, I wouldn't spend my time playing it. I tried. So we had a good bit of fun with Sandbox. Sandbox was obviously the best I think we've played so far in this kind of space. But there really needs to be a real improvement in Web3 gaming. 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, I think, are seriously going to lead the way. The snapshots we've seen so far, the game looks absolutely phenomenal, graphics-wise. Even like obviously the vehicles and everything. A certain cheeky race suit also looks absolutely spectacular. But yeah, the more of these companies that come together, work to improve the Web3 gaming aspect, I think better for the space. The gaming will be far better as a whole. The games need to, we said it before, the games need to get up to the likes of Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty level, FIFA, Madden, whatever it is you play. They need to be up to that kind of level to have enough engagement to keep the Web3 gaming sector pushing forward. And as far as I'm concerned, the best way to do that is either work together as a whole and produce the best games they can possibly produce, or these uber mega companies need to come into this space. The likes of EA, 2K need to come into this space. I don't see that happening just yet. I think the ship is going to sail And these big mega companies that are developing games on obviously likes of Xbox, PlayStation, they're going to be left behind to an extent, and they'll be the ones that are late to come into this space. And you're going to see the leaders here, like potentially 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗧, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗧, are going to be leading the way. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting few years coming ahead.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, if I go right back in time to like the main channel when we first set up the channel, Nick and myself said everything was going to be tokenized in the future. Tokenized stocks, we've seen elements of that. Tokenized gold and metals, we've seen elements of that. You know, property, we've even started seeing that now. You know, everything Nick and myself have said so far when it comes to where we kind of see crypto heading is heading that way, right? And I'm going to go with, you know, gaming, AI, interoperability, and privacy as being, you know, future big narratives for the next bull run. I would love to see Findora do something with Layer Zero, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗧, and various other projects. Because I think, you know, there is a need for that within gaming as well, from a use case, being able to mask, unmask like your assets in game, and you know, being interoperable across many different chains and stuff like that. I would just love to see some collaboration around some of these projects that are positioning themselves in the same or similar sectors.
We've obviously spoken about this a few times before, and this kind of opens up a massive bag here, because on top of that, you're going to need better storage. You're going to need better security. So then you start looking at like different protocols, different projects, you know, what could be achieved here is unbelievable when you actually really start cracking down into everything that is required. So yeah, I think you're totally right here. When the trigger is pulled, these do become live. The requirement for everything else is going to grow exponentially. That, you know, it's just going to be phenomenal to see the growth that's going to happen off the back of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's super exciting to be in the space now. And I'm still saying it's early because obviously you could have been here earlier. But I think that you're still really early when you consider how small the total market cap is and compare it to other investment instruments. There's just so much growth. There's so much multiplying that needs to happen. You know, if you're here and, you know, you're listening to future narratives and, you know, sectors that could do really well and could flourish. If you get one, possibly two or three of those correct, in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, whatever your time horizon is, I think you're going to be in a very, very good position. Like very good. And you've got to take your emotions out of it. We talk about this a lot. Being able to, you know, not be too fussed if your portfolio's down 10, 20, 30%. Yeah, I just think if you can take away that emotion, and you can still see the projects doing what they have articulated they're going to do, you know, they're up to date with their roadmaps and on track and so forth, and they're aligned to those, and they're making themselves accountable. You know, I do, you know, sometimes say it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for project teams to make mistakes, as long as they put their hands up and they correct it, and it doesn't happen again. As in showing learning from it. You know, if they miss a deadline, that's okay if they can explain why and you know, how they plan to mitigate that particular issue and so forth. But yeah, keeping an eye on the project teams and the project itself is very, very important.
Well, this is just like, I'll paint a picture for those that are listening here. We're going to play golf right now. Bear with me here. This is going to be a bit of an elaborate one. We're going to play golf right now. Chris has just put the golf tee in the grass. He's just put the golf on top of the tee, and I'm sitting here with a golf club ready to smash this out the park for a beautiful transition into companies and whatever it is you want to call it here that need to be accountable for what's going on. And let's talk about SushiSwap.
Yeah.
Absolute perfect segue here. 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗏. I'd like to say there's a bit of trouble here. They have been exploited for $3.3 million off of a contract. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. This needs to be broken down. This really needs to be cracked into to see what the hell is going on. I do believe it's on one contract alone that this has happened. There's a lot obviously we can cover off here, but I'd like to thank you for that segue. You know, you teed that right up for me, Chris.
Beautiful. Yeah, look, I think there's definitely reason to be concerned. I did a video probably about 8 or 9 months ago on how to keep yourself safe with MetaMask. I've literally been pasting it all over our Discord again today for everybody, because you will need to revoke contracts on your MetaMask. So
Yeah.
it's not straightforward to do necessarily, but I have a perfect video walkthrough guide of how to do it. So that just makes it as simple as it can possibly be. So check that out if you've been using 𝗖𝗎𝗪 at all. It's really just the last 4 days or so, but better to be safe than sorry, and just remove any contracts, revoke them from your MetaMask or said wallet that you've been integrating or utilizing with 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗏, if I can get my words out. I think this stuff from a security standpoint, I have made my feelings quite clear that there is no need for financial loss in the crypto space if the projects in the space partner with some of the cybersecurity projects in the crypto space. Like, there's a lot to be said for the additional security. There's a lot to be said for mitigation and forward thinking. And there's also a lot to be said for the arrogance of some of the projects out there that are not utilizing the technology that is available. Like, why are we not, you know, working together in this space? Like, why are we not using a protocol like Lossless, for example?
Yep.
Why are projects not doing that? Now, I'm not suggesting 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗏 are or are not, but if people lose, you know, a portion of that 3.3 million and it's theirs, there's no need for that to happen, and that frustrates the absolute hell out of me. So yeah.
So this one here, for instance, this obviously this issue with 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗏, this was flagged up in the early hours in Asia by 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀. So they flagged this up, and they've obviously reported that it seems that 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗏 has a router processor 2 contract with an improvement related bug, which obviously led to the loss of $3.3 million. So if 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀 flagged this up before 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗀 obviously later confirmed it. For me, it shows that the security protocol in place there, whatever it may be, is not strong enough, is not up to standard, so to speak here. But, you know, matchmaker Chris needs to start doing some matchmaking here, putting 2 and 2 together and, you know, getting some good security in this space.
I do feel like a bit of a matchmaker recently. But yeah, look, there's no need for financial loss when it comes to these protocols and these crypto projects from a, you know, from a like a liquidity pool or DEX. There's just no need for it. So one thing that I do want to make quite clear is it is easier to write insecure code on Ethereum, just, you know, to be devil's advocate here, than it is some other protocols like Cardano. But with that said, knowing that, you know, if I know that, and developers should bloody well know that, and you know, they should take the precautions. I think it's very arrogant to not partner up with some of these projects. And if you're, you know, thinking about getting into a project, maybe it's an early startup or an altcoin, and, you know, I encourage everybody to jump into the Discords, the Telegram groups for some of these projects, and ask the questions. You know, what's your mitigation for hacks? You know, what have you got in place? Because if they can't answer that, or they're not partnered up with anybody. This was a big learning for me, you know, through the Harmony One hack. which was a huge hack. Again, didn't need to happen. But what I did like to see was that the fact that they did partner with Lossless afterwards. So look, I think it's okay to make mistakes. You know, so that's a giant mistake, don't get me wrong, but like I think it's okay to make mistakes. But like if a project's made that mistake already, it's inexcusable now for any other project to make that same mistake. Partner up. Like, yeah, look, I feel like a spokesman for Lossless right now, but like, you know, there are other protocols out there. Definitely worth, if you're running a project, removing that arrogance of like, you know, being a great coder, and get some additional protection put in place so that people don't lose their hard-earned capital. Like,
Yeah,
I see an awful lot of focus on influencers, and don't get me wrong, I put a lot of focus on influencers and like, you know, being responsible in the space and so forth, because like the consequences can be severe. You know, you saw what happened with Luna and FTX, and you know, people, you know, losing their life savings and, you know, considering doing some really silly things. And I won't get into that side of things for this, but you know, knowing that you should take great responsibility in what you say and the actions that you take. And like there's all this focus on influencers at the moment, particularly, you know, this $1 billion lawsuit against the likes of BitBoy and various other YouTubers. Like that's cool, but like, why are people not suing the regulators that, you know, we're supposed to keep the investors safe? Why are they not being sued? Why are YouTubers being sued? You know, the other question is like, you know, these projects that are not taking accountability and mitigating risk with solutions that are out there, available, obtainable. Like, are these people being you know, treated in a similar way to a similar standard that YouTubers are being? Like, I look at it, right, and JB, you can give me your thoughts and opinions on this, but like I think YouTubers, right, if we just take this lawsuit, right, the FTX one, $1 billion, all these different influencers, you know, YouTubers are being put up here, right? Like, they should have known, they should have been more responsible, this, that, the other, right? And don't get me wrong, some of the influencers on there, how would they know? Like, I don't like to defend some of these scummy people, like, because I'm not suggesting anybody on that particular list is a scummy person, but like there's a lot of influencers out there that do scummy things, like dump on the communities and stuff like that. Now, I'm not really keen on defending those sorts of individuals, but like, if you're going to put them up here, what exchanges listed FTX, like FTT, Luna? Like, the regulators that met with them were basically the oversight. Like, it looked like they were in bed together, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
Why are they not being treated the same as, you know, a YouTuber? I mean, like, if we take Ben Armstrong, for example, and like, I'm not going to be like horrible towards the guy at all, but like, he's hardly come from like this financial background of like traditional banking. You know, what about Crypto? I mean, the guy was a taxi driver. How many McDonald's influencers, like, you know, they worked at McDonald's, now they're crypto influencers and done very, very well for themselves, I might add. Like, how
Brian
are these
Jung,
people?
I was so sad to see Brian Jung's name on the list. I love that guy.
Yeah, I mean, Ben saying that he never took any payment to promote FTX and FTT. So maybe he's the same, but irrespective of that, like, why are the YouTubers being held to such a high standard when the regulators aren't?
Yeah.
The exchanges that listed the Poxy token aren't. The hedge funds that invested in it and lost, you know, customers' funds.
Your
Like,
educated masses here in the space are the ones that have to be held accountable, not your YouTubers, not your
like
content creators, whatever it is you want to call it right now, whatever, you know, we're categorized as nowadays. We shouldn't be the ones, obviously, like Brian Jung. Ben Armstrong, this lot should not be the ones in the limelight for punishment here. It should be your regulators, your exchanges, the big ones in the space that have caused so many people to lose money because of everything that has transpired. The fact that the target has been switched to the easy targets, to the easy ones to go after in the space, I think is wrong. I don't think that people are innocent here. They're definitely not. Paperwork that's going to come out in the future is going to show why they're not. But your educated masses here are the ones that I think should be the focal point, the target for the investigation that is also going to come.
Yeah, I just look at it and I just think, like, why are YouTubers being held to this higher standard, like, than any other expert, actual experts that have studied it, been to university, got degrees in the damn stuff, accredited, investors, people that can give advice, financial advice. Why are these individuals not being treated at the same level as some of these YouTubers? It's mind-blowing to me. And again, like, if any of these individuals have done wrong and they've taken payment and they didn't highlight that they were taking payments for the promotions and stuff like that, look, they deserve to be punished.
What I find really stupid though, why not, like, if obviously this channel was ever to obviously have paid endorsement, but I'm almost certain, in fact, I'll guarantee right now that it would be broadcast. You'd be very clear if that was ever to be in place. I think it'd be the very first thing that was spoken about if the product was ever mentioned. By the way, this is obviously a paid content or whatever. But why would you not just say it? It's not going to affect you in any way. It's not going to change what exactly you're going to talk about. It's just about paraphrasing one line that obviously this is paid. It doesn't change anything. I don't see why they would have to hide it. It does not make sense. It's very, very bizarre.
It really is. And my eyes were opened. I saw a number of influencers promoting a particular project, and they never mentioned that it was paid endorsed. Now, I know it's paid endorsed because that project, alongside many others, have messaged me asking for paid promotion, which we don't do. So it's one of those. It's eye-opening to see it. It's why we talk about it, and it's not on. I don't understand why people just don't highlight it. We have a transparency report in our Discord. You can go and see in real time all of our channel sponsors, any paid content that is done, which we don't do, so you won't see it there, and our affiliate links. We're very, very clear about who we're affiliated with and where the money comes from. So it's kind of best practice and should be standard practice, really, in this space. So look, be careful out there. But I don't see why these individuals are being held to a higher standard than people that should be held to a higher standard.
For me, if you're not a scummy person, you do a paid promotion for something that you believed in. Now, I know obviously there's scummy people in this space. It's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? There's folk that want to just make money. We're all here to make money. Do you know what I mean? But if you really believed in something and you had a moral high ground, let's say you had a certain moral objective you wanted to stay true to, you wouldn't have a problem disclosing a paid promotion if you really believed in that project. Now, perhaps they really did believe in FTX and everything that was going on. Maybe at the time it was brought to them, everything seemed really good. So for me, as I said, it just baffles me why they would not disclose that it was paid. It's so bizarre. Yeah,
look, I've got no issues with paid promotions as long as they're articulated to the audience that is what they are. We choose not to do them because we have high standards here at Cheeky Crypto, and I'm not suggesting that others don't have high standards. You've got to do
it's just the format that you've set out to, and
exactly. And we've done paid promotions, but whenever we have in the past, over a year ago, we highlighted every single one. We made it very clear, and everybody understood that was a paid promotion. And I think it doesn't matter what paid promotions people do from a YouTube standpoint. If they declare it and they tell you to go do your own research, then the responsibility is on the viewer to go do that research, do that due diligence. And I know we bang on about it and we talk about it a lot, but people need to take some accountability and some ownership over you know, what moves they make in this space. If, you know, I buy or I sell, you know, you shouldn't just be standard copying me. You know, that's just not what people should be doing. You know, I'm in a very different position to many others. You know, I just don't think it's the right thing to be doing. And same with following others. I don't think you should be, you know, carbon copying anybody. Is my opinion. You should, you know, go do your own research and learn about stuff. You know, I think it's important to watch the videos and stuff that you know, people put out, YouTubers put out, because you stumble across new things that you would never have heard of, and you might find something absolutely wonderful and life-changing in amongst you know, the different videos. And so, you know, I think that should be part of your research, not all of your research.
Yep.
But let us know in the comments below what are your thoughts and opinions.
Chris, it's just like you're playing into my hands today, because you're just teeing me up for another segue here about people who should be doing their own research and understanding, you know, what it is they're investing their money in. So, unfortunately, another kind of negative one to report here, but it's a definite negative one. An elderly couple here. We're seeing, say, the news article that came out here, an elderly couple from Toronto, Canada, lost around $300,000 in an elaborate scheme. So just to kind of make a long story short here, would you call them a group or just an influencer? You know, whatever it is you'd like to say it. It's an unfamiliar person online approached this elderly couple, gave them a massive presentation that came across very professional and knowledgeable to them. Gained the trust of the family, and it was a sum of up to $300,000 this elderly couple parted ways with as an investment scheme, of investment fund, and it seems that they lost it all. I think obviously the Canadian government, I think it was the government or it's the police there, I need to kind of obviously look a bit more into that. They're trying their hardest obviously to recover as much of the funds as possible, but it just goes to show obviously it's fair to say they were an easier target. Obviously, it's an elderly couple who it might obviously be easy to say know very little about the space. They've obviously just had probably a fantastic presentation given to them and said, obviously, this is obviously the money we want you to invest. This is what we can return, etc., etc. And they've basically been scammed. You know how scams work in this space, so it just shows, you know, it is everywhere. And unfortunately, the vulnerable ones are the easiest targets, and these are the ones that have just lost $300,000. Horrible.
It is horrible, and these scams are really common. And we've got people in our Discord community that have lost money through very similar, if not identical, scams. Scammers are very clever at what they do and how they do it. You know, like how many people in the audience have gone on to Twitter, for example, and you know, thought that they were communicating with an influencer, but it isn't. It's a fake account, and they're trying to do one of these scams. You know, they try to, you know, befriend you, and they try to get you to part with your cash in, you know, it could be a website, a trading website. They might offer to trade for you. If somebody's offering to trade your money, 9 times out of 10, that is a scam, particularly if they've contacted you completely out of the blue and so forth. Even if they are, you know, potentially impersonating somebody that you know or you're familiar with. Again, it's another common way that they do it. They're very clever at what they do. Just don't fall for this sort of stuff. What I would say is, you know, if something seems too good to be true, but you're like planning on dipping your toe in anyway, like feel free to jump in the Discord and ask one of our experienced team members or ourselves or one of the community and get like some opinions on it, because I'd rather people ask and don't get scammed. You know, if I can just save one person from one of these nasty scams, that makes me a happy chappy.
The one in particular, right, when you say that it seems too good to be true, it probably is. It jumps out to me is when you go into like YouTube or Twitter and it's got the link to the YouTube channel. It's 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗧 and deposit 1 Ethereum to receive back 3 Ethereum as a special 24-hour promotion or whatever it is. You know, these things are scams. Don't dip your toe in there. As far as I'm concerned, you're just giving away your money.
Yeah, exactly that. But let's move on to something more positive. We're kind of look to wrap this up shortly. We've got Cardano's pioneering governance model, empowering the community and shaping the future of Cardano. So a community-driven social media network for Cardano recently shared, a really interesting tweet talking about this in great detail. And I will drop this article into our Discord for you to read through at your leisure. But I am super excited about the governance model for Cardano. I think there's potentially some earning opportunities there. We discussed this in far more detail than we're going to in this podcast with Charles Hoskinson himself, whilst we were talking about Midnight. So actually it forms one of the short videos that I'm going to be putting out in the next few days.
No, so we were very lucky, to put it easily here. The conference we went to in Edinburgh, when obviously you guys came up here, we heard a lot about the progress and everything Cardano. So obviously right now we're in the Shelley era, and this next stage obviously we're moving into Voltaire. Now, the way Charles dived into this, in fact, I'm sure the live is still on this YouTube channel.
Yeah,
that you could go back and watch. It is quite long, but I seriously encourage anybody to go and watch it. Being there in person, hear Charles actually talking about it. I'm a fanboy of Charles. I love him. I think the guy's brilliant. He's one of the best in this space. He's got me on hooks. It's fine. But for Cardano moving forward into the Voltaire era, I think really big things are on the horizon right now for Cardano. Very much looking forward to Voltaire.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of the governance model, and also side chains, obviously Midnight and a few others that are popping up, like sort of Hypercycle and so forth. There is some really, really cool stuff happening on the Cardano ecosystem.
To name a few here, though, it's going to be self-sustaining system. There's going to obviously be the voting in the treasury system. You'll be able to stake with voting rights to influence the network's future development. Massive, absolutely massive for Cardano here. Excuse me, I do apologise. Obviously, once everything's in place, the Voltaire era will enable network users, participants to present Cardano's improvement proposals. Stakeholders can vote on everything. So, Cardano's ADA for me is huge. I think it's one of the big powerhouses in the space, a sleeping giant, if you like. I think it's going to be one of the special ones that, flourish in this next bull run. So again, I'll just move it back to everything that happened up in Edinburgh. But everything that Charles spoke about, it's going to come forward in the Voltaire era. Yeah, it's special, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm excited to see how well this is all going to come into place.
Yeah, same here. And there's been some FUD recently. I believe that Charles had an interview with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏, may have got cut off, according to what Charles has said on a recent video that he's put out on YouTube, around Cardano delays due to betting wrong on tech. Not really factually accurate from what Charles has said. And he's had a little pop at the media recently, because they're very one-sided when it comes to the projects that they're happy to talk about quite positively. And Charles, I feel rightly so, highlighted the likes of how positive they talked about FTX, FTT, Luna, and so forth. And look where they are now. There's just so much going on, and I personally don't agree that delays are because Cardano chose the wrong type of tech. Their tech is, in my opinion, and don't get me wrong, like, my opinion, take it with a pinch of salt, everyone's got one, but I have reviewed over 360 odd projects in the last year or so. So I am looking at technology of all these different protocols, and for me, Cardano's exceeds expectations compared to many others in the space. And sometimes these things take a little bit longer to develop. And I think there have been some mistakes made, but I don't think it was choosing the wrong tech, for example. I mentioned earlier that it's easier to write insecure code on Ethereum than it is Cardano, and that is mainly because of the programming language. So yeah, look, Cardano is still developing, Ethereum is still developing, and I think there's a lot of positives said about Ethereum, but what I would say is there's a lot of negatives that could also be said about Ethereum, as many other projects as well. None of these projects are perfect, and I want to be really clear on that. From my side of things, as an investor, I could pick holes in many different protocols. I just don't see the value in doing that. Like, what's the point of me, pointing holes out in like Ethereum and what they're doing? I don't think it really benefits anybody. It will generate an argument as to why I'm invested in one over another. But outside of that, I don't really see the value, and a lot of this stuff is just nonsense.
On the flip of it as well, though, possible delays that have happened over the time of Cardano, I also see as a good thing. It's not rushing a product to market when it's not ready. First and foremost, I think that's the fundamental pro behind Cardano, is they're not willing to rush something just so it's on the market. They'll wait till it's perfect. And if you've ever listened to Charles talk, perfection is key to everything that Charles does. So for me, it's a good thing that there's been delays over the years, everything Cardano related. I think there's lessons have been learned in this space. One obvious one to call out here is obviously Solana. We've obviously seen plenty of issues there over the last few years. So for Cardano not to rush things to market, I see as a good thing. If it's not ready, why put it out?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want something that's not ready.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the long term, it will pay off for Cardano. I love the peer-reviewed aspect of things, and peer-reviewed will take longer than just trying to fit a square block in a circle hole, right?
You've just done it again. You've just teed it up for me. Long-term segue, bang. Long-term holders for ADA. Let's talk about it.
More than half of the Cardano holders have become long-term holders of Cardano's ADA.
Does that not just scream bullish about the project that folk are willing to hold on to Cardano? I wonder why this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the staking mechanism aspect of Cardano is immense. Non-custodial, move it in and out freely. Where can you do that elsewhere?
Yeah. Then, obviously in the future as well, what else is going to happen here? You're going to earn midnight.
There's lots of opportunities that I kind of feel are on the horizon for Cardano. So it's a bullish sign. And that's the sort of data that you're looking for. Are people holding? Are people moving away? What's the community size of like the socials? Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? What's the sentiment? And I think it's all really positive. I'm expecting big things from Cardano. I like what they're doing. I've mentioned how much I like what VeChain are doing as well. I just think that there's just so many good projects right now. And new projects that are going to be lighting up the space as well that are on the horizon. I think there's a lot of real positive stuff going on. My fears, though, are still present around the macro environment across the board, the regulation aspect of things, and the traditional banking sector. So I think we still need to be mindful of these, outside influences when it comes to, what can affect the market. But outside of that, these projects do look really, really juicy to me, even at these prices. And I expect them to go on and flourish and do very, very well.
Yeah. So obviously, as of recording, Cardano ADA trading at 38.8, 38.8 cent. this is going to hurt to hear. I do believe we're going to see much cheaper Cardano ADA in this bear market. The bear market, I do believe we're still in. But, you know, there's been videos put out. You can check out the videos here that Nick has put up that we see a big future for Cardano. Quite rightly so. We've obviously just had a quick brief talk about it here. When it moves forward with Voltaire, I think it's obviously going to do some wonderful, wonderful things. The Twitter following, I think, is at 1.3 million followers. So they have a huge community behind them, a huge following. You know, come and talk smack about Cardano editing. I'm happy to have the conversation because I am very big on Cardano, and I do look forward to seeing everything going forward. Obviously, briefly spoke about it there. We spoke about it previously. The ability to earn midnight by simply holding and staking your Cardano when midnight comes to market. You know, tell me something bad about Cardano that, you know, that's going to change the way I think about it, because for me it's just one of the powerhouse projects out there waiting to explode.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they do go down that route of like airdropping to holders. I mean, I don't know whether that side of things has been confirmed yet, but I anticipate it'll be something along those lines. Yeah, look, I'm super excited. I think, you know, it's going to be an interesting, you know, year or so for Cardano and the crypto space. So I guess we'll look to wrap things up now. What are your closing thoughts, JB?
Yeah, I'm just happy to say I'm obviously back on here. Appreciate you guys if you have stuck around to this point. I'm very nasally. I'm trying to get rid of this cold as quick as I can. So going forward, this duo, call it a duo for now, you know, this is going to be more regular, but we've got the structure back in place. Everything is now, as far as I'm concerned, set going forward. We know behind the scenes what's happening here. So thank you guys for being patient with us. We're seeing the channel still growing as always. So thank you. Liking videos as you do, comment as you do. I love obviously seeing some of the comments coming back. More importantly, subscribing. Please do subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Really do appreciate it. This channel growing. You know, it gives us purpose to push it forward further. Closing statements. I've totally dragged that out. But yeah, if you guys are going to be trading, please do trade safe in this space. Have a nice tight stop loss. Make great gains. And I will see you in the next one.
Yeah, and I think from my side, jump in the Discord. I know I say it an awful lot, but you know, we're trying to build something, and I think we have already built something that is very, very special, and it's continuing to grow, and it's only going to get better. So yeah, look, I'd love to have more meaningful conversations with our community. So why not jump into the Discord and have those more meaningful conversations with Nick, myself, and our team, and our fantastic community that we've built up. You know, it is fantastic, and I do encourage people to do that. So yeah, look, thanks for watching. I mirror everything that JB's also said. Take care, and I will catch you in the next one.